then, I'm going to give this a couple minutes, see if anybody shows up. I know most of the views on this thing, these sorts of streams, happen well after I stream, because I am rather inconstant in my streams. But this is the RPG Crawler with my first look, or my quick look at Pay What You Want / free tabletop role-playing games. Every so often, I gather together some free or Pay What You Want minor and indie tabletop role-playing games and role-playing game accessories, and just basically do a quick look, see what they're like, and, you know, kind of give my thoughts on them. It's a mix of OSR, 5th edition, and other stuff. I will go through the 5th edition stuff first because that's usually the most straightforward. I'm not going to spend the usual amount of time that I do looking in depth at individual adventures. I'm going to pretty much breeze through them as I can, just to kind of save time. Now, I actually had 3 more that I'm going to cover tonight, like set aside, but I had a system crash due to, not a crash, I had a power fluctuation due to a storm, and basically did not save the information, and I didn't really have any luck looking up the ones I selected from last week. So let's take a look. First off is something called Something Happens. It's from Momentous Malice Production. And it is a 5th edition adventure for 1st to 4th level characters. Let's go ahead and pop it into fit one full page here. As you can tell, it's pretty, I want to say, amateurish. It is a pay what you want product, or at least it was. Let me make sure it still is, because sometimes these things change. Let me go ahead and pop the link open. 20 encounters and adventure hooks for fantasy role-playing game parties of 1st to 4th level. This is basically a collection of 20 encounters. Just pop in. And I will go ahead and put the link in chat, and it will be in the description afterwards, after this goes live. Alright, Something Happens, 1st to 4th level. So let's just take a breeze through here. There's going to be 20 encounters. You got your OGL stuff up front. You've got your begging for money up front. And I got to admit, I don't mind when people do that. In fact, I'd rather them do that. Ask for appropriate payment, because let's face it, if it's useful, somebody is going to give you some money. I need to put some stuff out on Drive-Thru-RPG. I cover it so much, and there's no reason I shouldn't have something out on Drive-Thru-RPG. Alright, suddenly, use the table and encounters presented here if they fit with your fantasy role-playing campaign when any of the following situations occur. Play is bogged down with intra-party bickering. Party is between adventures, nobody's really sure what to do next. Game master looking for ideas to help brainstorm. It's basically random encounter stuff. And it's a good way to break things up with a random encounter when people are doing that kind of thing, instead of just sticking to a random encounter chance. They're leveled to provide easy to hard combat challenges for a party of 5 3rd level characters. So you've got 20 of them. Cultists, a druid, a metallic dragon wormling, a chromatic dragon wormling, an ogre, a priest, a hag, an imp. I like how they're linked in here, so I just boop, and you can already go to it. That's a nice touch. So it looks like there's no maps. There's a couple of random stock arts in here. And then there is the encounters, and they're just like something you'd see in a Wizards of the Coast thing, where you've just got a quick rundown of the encounter. Metallic Dragon Wormling, a plucky copper dragon wormling approaches the party, enthusiastically tries to recruit them for a heist. She's heard of a real or imagined secret way into a richly appointed villa of a cruel and corrupt human noble. Okay. And you got Ogre, there's a scream and a crash, and it quickly becomes apparent that an ogre is violently rampaging through the area. Yeah, this is all very simple. Very simple. This is actually not all that original. I'm looking at these. Vampires spawn. In the dead of night, a terrified noble stumbles across the party and begs them to protect them. Shortly thereafter, the vampire spawn arrives and attempts to kill the noble. If the party doesn't intervene, the vampire makes short work of its victim, sneers at the party, and leaves. Otherwise, it fights until reduced below a quarter of its health, then flees. Creature's working for a more powerful master, so that's kind of a link into a more more extensive adventure. Yeah, I mean, this is all right. You will note that they have pronouns on some of these, but not all of these. And ordinarily, I'm like a real irritated whenever I see pronouns, because it implies it implies a certain degree of laziness. But in this instance, I actually don't mind it, because you'll note that, and it's actually well done here, because you'll note that these names are not immediately, they're kind of goofy. They're not immediately identifiable. Like Sisum. So I don't mind it in that point. Whereas something like the succubus, there's no need to put anything like that. Something like zombies, because nobody cares about something like that. So I actually don't mind it there. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's 20 random encounters, and I mean they are really random encounters. Everything from a succubus to a vampire to random ettins to ogres. I mean, this is like literally the epitome of that. This is your random encounter table. It's kind of goofy. Anyway, I'm going to close this one out. That something happens. Doesn't seem particularly original, but it gets the job done. More importantly, we're going to move to the next one. Next one is Getris Grimoire. And this one is from Tabletop Totality, which I've covered some of their things before. I believe. And if I remember, Getris Grimoire is like let me take a look what it is. This adventure is suitable for a party of 4 to 5 players in level range of 6 to 8. A rare and powerful magic artifact has been arranged for sale in the town city. The item and the gnome Getri, the wizard who is to sell it, are both overdue, and as a sudden magical explosion rocks the setting. So you got to figure out. There's a caustic sludge released. Okay, this is actually kind of interesting. This is like a good background here. So this is Getris Grimoire, and I'll go ahead and pop that in the chat. It is a pay-what-you-want product, a 5th edition adventure, and that is the link. So let's take a look. It's just 27 pages, which is about average for a quick little adventure. This font is making me cry a little bit, but I guess it's different. So yeah, a rare and powerful magical artifact has been arranged for sale in the town/city. The item and the gnome Getri, the wizard who is to sell it, are both overdue as a sudden magical explosion rocks the setting. Spreading out from the epicenter of the blast is arcane and caustic slime that sticks to and eats away at everything it touches. Both the officials of the setting, City Watch, whatever, because it is rather setting neutral, and the buyers of the magic item are willing to pay the party for their help in stopping the deadly sludge, but also recovering the magic item. So, yeah, so Getri messed up, would use the magic relic while visiting a demi-plane of his creation. Something has gone terribly wrong, and the caustic ooze is continually pouring out of the grimoire that serves as the vessel. So there's your background. This encounter followers are a model of any town RPG, meaning that theory can be set in any city or town, which I appreciate. I appreciate that. Several blocks of the village city have been heavily damaged, and depending on the realism you wish to add into your world, there will be a multitude of casualties as caustic and incredibly sticky slime has erupted from a nearby tavern, the Troll Toll. This slime is magical in nature and eats away and burns at everything consumed. So it's already got something like the blob spreading through the city. So they're looking for any citizens with arcane prowess, which is going to be most of your adventuring groups, unless you're running a really off-brand adventuring group. The slime does not relent as the townsfolk near the tavern try to stem the flow. The effluence of sludge fires up again and covers another nearby section of town. Captain of the guards, Vaxis, a human with striking looks, alluding to a distant celestial heritage, quickly offers the party a large sum of gold that can help them stop the magical slime. Nearby in an alleyway, an athletic and shady-looking tiefling and a barefooted goblin with cat motif tattoos and paint upon his body are next to approach the party. The tiefling introduces himself and his friend as Nubbin and Tim, who claim an associated of theirs may be responsible for the magical sludge. So that's where you get your other hook, as well as your backgrounds. Tim, a curiously strong-looking goblin, which is kind of amusing, states simply that some of his clan work in the tavern and others work directly for Getry. So let's go ahead and cruise that. So you basically get a legal and a slightly shady lead into this. If the party agrees to aid, they will be tasked with entering the tavern, climbing to the top level, seek out the source of sludge, and perhaps save Getry. So first of all, let me take a look. Do I have a map for this? How did they do the maps? Oh, that is a nasty-looking map, but it really gets the job done. Okay. That looks as unpleasant as... I mean, it doesn't look bad. This looks like something that you'd see on like a dungeon tile thing or a board game type thing. Doesn't look bad, but it does look ugly because it's supposed to look ugly. Because you've got all the slime everywhere. Okay. So you've got what? 11 encounter areas. And they're just listed here. You've got difficult terrain, DC Constitution save after spending more than 2 rounds to resist the toxic fumes. You've got more dexterity saves to avoid falling through the floor. That's interesting. It's got a storage room with a potion of healing in it. Could be useful. So 1d4 swarms of rats within the chamber that attack the party when they go into an ancillary storage room. This is really minor stuff for a party of this level. But I suspect it's mostly to slow them down while they contend with the environmental effects. Which is not too bad. Get 1,000 gold, a couple potions of healing. That's not bad for the level. It's not great for the level, but it's not bad for the level. And there's a lot of random falling down to the first level type stuff, and it does variable damage. And then you get up to Getry's room, and then you see a grimoire open on the top dresser drawer. Then reaching the grimoire, you go into it, which opens up the second part. Alright, the item Getry was to obtain for the tiefling Nubbin and Tim were the Mortar and Pestle of Baraket, an insidious sorcerer of a bygone age, often nicknamed the Hand of Doom by modern educators. Alright, so he basically made something that makes destruction. So let's take a look. We got a demi-plane here, which looks... Hold on a second. Did I go all the way? Yeah, I went too far. This looks like straight up like something out of like an old isometric game. I'm not sure how helpful this map will be. I also am getting flashbacks to like Blighttown. Just a toxic swamp. So we've got a hideout on a demi-plane. It's just environmental damage. There's a planar tentacle. More environmental damage. Yeah, this is basically Blighttown in a tabletop game. This is really unpleasant looking. Although I will admit there's less long random falls than like Upper Blighttown, so at least that much is good. No, you got your random falls in the first part of the adventure. This adventure seriously is just like your Poison Swamp adventure. Great. Should the party survive the encounters in the manor, they will have to decide the fate of the gnome Getry, because you get into the manor, which is next. Which I presume is this, although this, like this here, does not at all look like it holds this particular manor. I mean, the maps are okay. They're not bad. I think the ugliness of the maps, it just boils down to the fact that it's a very ugly adventure. This antechamber was once the workspace of various goblins who worked for Getry. They have been changed into globlins, malformed goblins who are unable to escape the caustic torrents of magical sludge. Yuck. This is the kind of adventure that, you know, kind of makes your party want to go take a long bath afterwards. This is just terrible. I mean, I think it's well done. I think that the only thing that I'm seeing here, and I know I'm skimming over this adventure real quick, is that what level is this for? This is for 6th to 7th level characters. Like, most 6th to 7th level characters in my games would just, like, face roll this adventure. This adventure is, like, not challenging at all so far that I've seen. Like, the only thing that I would be challenging is if they failed one of these environmental things and took maximum damage. Then you'd be challenged. But the encounters, yeah. Most of the groups that run in my games would probably face roll this. So it's all about the environmental effects. Now you got some nice treasure in here. You got some golden lion figurines. Those are nice. Dagger of Venom. That's nice. So you've got Chemist's Bane as the boss. So what the hell is the Chemist's Bane? Let's take a look down here. This is where the art falls apart. That looks like MS Paint stuff. I don't know. It's a little bit better than MS Paint. Okay. What's Chemist's Bane? Hey, what's up? I'm just finally doing another one of these pay what you want / free RPG looks. There's a goblin. It's basically a goblin that's been. This is like a goblin that ended up like that dude from RoboCop, the original one. He's been dumped in toxic slime, and now he's just staggering about, reaching for people. Chemist's Bane is an amorphous ooze that was spawned in the powerful relic of the Mortar and Pestle. So it is a challenge rating 10 for a 6th, 7th level party. Yeah, it's pretty beefy, but it's not super beefy. It is immune to acid, cold, lightning, and slashing, but vulnerable to fire. And fire is like the most common. Is like the single most common damage type for a spellcaster. Well, most of the time. So I don't think it would be particularly rough. It's basically a black pudding that has some vulnerabilities and immunities added. I don't see a yeah, it's a nice little boss. I wouldn't say it's particularly challenging, but it's a nice little boss. It's got engulfing attack. It's got at the start of every turn, roll 1d6 to determine if the morphogenic flesh can be used. And then you can basically switch immunities out, which that's the challenging part because it can start switching its own immunities. That's not bad. So yeah, all of a sudden between that where it can change its immunities and this where it can repair itself, yeah, that becomes challenging then. I like it. I like it. This is a nice little adventure. I think it's an ugly and unpleasant adventure to, like, if you were to play in it, because it's basically Blight Town Tabletop Edition. But I like it. As a DM, I like it. As an adventure designer, I like it. Alright. Yeah, that was actually pretty neat. That's Getry's Grimoire, a 5th edition adventure. And it's by Tabletop Totality, who has a couple other neat little things. Have I put the link in there? Yeah, I've already put the link in there. We're just going to cruise through these quick tonight. It's been a while since I've done one of these. Next is another 5th edition, and we've only got this and one other 5th edition offering before we're done. So the OSR will come up next. Next is Down the Rat Hole from Adventure Bundles, who actually has several adventures out. And it is another pay-what-you-want offering. And let's pop it open. Let's take a look. Down the Rat Hole. Adventure Bundles has several adventures. I think they've assembled them into bundles. I'm running out of water. I need to go run to get some water. I might do so after I'm done with this. I will go take a short break to go get some more water. So Down the Rat Hole is fit to one full page. I do like the Adventure Bundles covers because they've got the standard 5th edition trade dress like up right here, right? This is a little bit more unique, although it still ties in, and the Adventure Bundles logo looks 5th edition-y. But they've got your level and then your how the adventure balances between the 3 tiers of exploration, combat, and roleplay, which I don't personally subscribe to, but I know a lot of adventure designers do. Then it's got that down here just in case you want your analysis there. So that's not bad just for a 3rd level adventure. I like the layout too. Layout's pretty fun. Let's go ahead and I'm going to skim through it to take a look at the art and the maps. Let's switch this back to fit to width so that my old man eyes can see this. The artwork's okay, I guess. I can't criticize it too much. If this was an OSR thing, I would have no problem with art that looks like this. But it's a 5th edition thing, and 5th edition kind of expects... See, here we go. Something a little bit more colorful. Like if they took this out and then made it more in line with the rest, then that would be good. I mean, it's not bad illustration. It's just, you've got this modern-looking layout and adventure. And then you got those hand-drawn things. Like, see, these are nice. These illustrations are nice. I like those. All right, anyway, let's take a look at the adventure itself. Did you ever wonder what the world looks like from a rat's perspective? We'll wonder no more. Oh, there's going to be one of those ones where they shrink the group, isn't it? A patron of the establishment tasks the party to recover her lost ring. One of those pesky rats snatched it last night and dragged it into his burrow. Desperate to get her possession back, she approaches the party for help. Will they accept and brave the dangers of this tiny dungeon? I have played a few adventures, and I have run a few adventures like this, where you get shrunk down and put somewhere. They're neat when they're implemented correctly. I know a recent one, I didn't actually get a chance to read it and review it, but a recent one was done where you had the party basically... I think it was actually set in like a giant's house, so it wasn't actually the party shrinking, but everything was huge. And then the classic one was Mad Goth's Castle from Undermountain in AD&D 2nd edition. It was a dungeon crawl expansion for that, and Mad Goth's Castle was basically like this little tiny castle in Undermountain, and then you shrink yourself down and go in it. So yeah, these are interesting to concept out, but I've found them a little bit difficult to run unless somebody else has already done all the conversion work for the stats. So it's a 2 to 3 hour one-shot adventure for a party of 4 third-level characters where players are shrunk down to approximately 1.5 inches or 1.2 inches? 3.5 centimeters tall, except those are commas, not decimals. Is that how they do it in Europe? They now weigh roughly 1 ounce. In this adventure, the PC's size counts as medium, while the enemies have had their sizes adjusted in the way that makes sense. I do like that, because it's much easier to scale everything else versus the PCs than to scale the PCs versus everything else. To make the transition to this scale this tiny world easier, we will continue using familiar units for distance, meaning that 5 foot equals 1 square on the map, as opposed to like the 0.78 inches in the rat burrow. Okay. All right. So you've got adventure hooks that help you convince your players basically to shrink themselves down, because that's not something that a lot of PC groups will want to do. They would be just like, okay, well, let's just rip the floorboards up. Like, if you approached your typical PC group, okay, we'll go ahead and shrink you down and get you into the floorboards after this ring, they would just say, well, why don't we just rip the floorboards up and look? Because that's 50 gold. You can pay for a lot of repairs with 50 gold. Get a shrinking potion. The tavern is called the White Rabbit, which is a nice nod to Alice in Wonderland. And the fact that you're chasing things down a hole. So, got your prices for your various brew. And this is going to be the dungeon layout, which means it's like under the floorboards of a normal-sized dungeon. Or a normal-sized tavern, rather. Alright, the burrow. Oh, God. So you start out with like a cockroach following you. It's not going to fight, but since you're only 2 inches, you're only like 1.5 inches high. Like, I guarantee you, one of the cockroaches in Texas would attack 1.5 inches high thing. Just as a matter of course. So those things are like 3-4 inches. Those things are like 2-3 inches long. This cockroach is not attacking the party, and when threatened, tries to escape. The party can earn the cockroach's trust and possibly get it for a mount. Oh, God. Kind of makes my skin crawl. Under the floorboards. You get all the noise from. I didn't comment on this on the last one, but the writing in this one is actually pretty decent. I haven't seen any massive word misuse yet. So then you've got giant spiders, of course, because of course. You've got coin treasure. Sticking out of the spider web is 1 coin, a platinum piece. So a platinum piece is about the size of a tiny creature and weighs 33% compared to tiny character's weight. I think it's a neat concept, and it looks actually relatively well implemented. And that's the key with something like this, is that it has to be well implemented. Because if it's not well implemented, it doesn't matter how neat a concept it is, you know? Got giant spiders. You got a tavern rat and some rat babies that attack you in the nesting area if you get into it. That curious cockroach will try to warn you of things. That's neat. And then this one is just a tavern rat and 6 straight up cockroaches that you can fight. Here's the overhead view of the map. And you'll note that all this looks like it's on the same plane, but if you look up here, whoops, like that same map, it goes down. So you've got like 1 and then 2 and then like 3 levels, basically. Even though this all looks like it's on the same plane. It's a storage cavern. I want to run one where characters go into like a giant anthill. And I totally don't want to run it just because that's my least favorite. It's one of my least favorite types of maps to play in like a computer game. I just think it'd be neat. So you got poisonous air the further you go in. An earthworm? Ew. When you're only 1.5 inches tall, or 1.2 inches tall, yeah. Sleeping rat king. So there's your rat king that you've got to fight. Which I hope is not actually like... What do they call it? In real life. Like a rat king in real life is actually like a tangled ball of rats. So this is not that. This is actually just a large creature. And then the Horde. I mean, you've got gold and platinum, but they're all small. So your party goes in there and they think they've hit it big, but then you remind them that they're only like an inch tall. So when they get back up, it's it's not great. And then they got to get back up and over. This is the best part. When they leave, they have to actually cross the tavern floor to get back to get brought back up. So they beat the dungeon, and then they have to go like make their way across, facing like soup spills and splinters and brooms, trying to get back to where they were so they can get back to normal size. That's actually really nice. That's something that's skipped over a lot. I would have so much fun running that. Party has reached the quest giver and given her the ring. And here's just the stats for things. Just basically everything upscaled. I think that's a good adventure. That's a good adventure. Dragon Bone Toothpick. It turns into a lockpick. I think that's a good adventure and well implemented. Adventure bundles. That's a good adventure. I like it. I like it. Now what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to take a quick break of a couple minutes, go get myself some more water, and I will be right back to continue. And we will continue with. No, I didn't make any changes. We will continue with the last of the 5th edition things I'm covering this time. And that's going to be Mini Quest, The Mighty Horse, which is basically alternative horse rules for 5th edition. So let me pop that open real quick, and I will be right back. And I will. This is like 8 pages long. Let me fit it to one full page. It's got that old style thing there, and it's a pay what you want offering. I'll put the link in the chat. Give me 1 second. And then I'll be right back. I'm basically fighting off a headache here trying to get through this. So water is like a necessity for me real quick. So let me toss this off real quick. Whoops, wrong one. I'll be back. Alright. I am back. Got myself water and a soda, even though my fat self does not need a soda by any stretch of my imagination. Alright, where were we? The Mighty Horse. Alternative Horse Rules for 5th edition by David Dudka. The horse was not only the primary means of transportation in medieval times, but also served as a status symbol. Which is true. There's a reason why knights were considered the premier warriors. It's because they had horses. That squeaking is my fan. Please tell me. Tell me that fix it. Yeah, who needs to actually fix things when you can just slap them and then all of a sudden they start working again? Alright, so you got ways to level up your horse. A horse's hit points increase as the rider gains levels. That's not bad. That's a good way to keep a horse relevant at higher levels. I might actually take that option for my current campaign. My current campaign is sort of a gritty, realistic... Well, it's not super realistic, but it's like a gritty, like more standard medieval style setting. And they're having issues because they're right now they're transiting into... from like 5th to 6th level. So they're getting to the point where mundane animals no longer really cut it, and yet they're still in need of them. So something that boosts hit points would definitely be useful. It only gains hit points while it's owned by the character. See, here's the thing. Hit points are supposed to be abstractions in the first place. So I am totally okay with a trained, with a high-level character, which is a trained and experienced character, riding a horse and then that horse getting hit points from it, because they are an abstraction and they're basically not just how beefy you are, but also what experience you have in making things not hurt so much. So it just follows that an experienced character on horseback would know to try to position the horse in such a way that it takes less damage. You got your animal handling DC for rolls in and out of combat. Normal is for rolls outside of combat. Battle of DC is completely separate, which I think is nice. If they fail the roll, the horse immediately takes a disengage action as a bonus action. The rider automatically regains control at the beginning of the next turn. That's not a bad way to do it. Horses typically require extensive training for battle. A trained warhorse responds to commands from leg pressure as opposed to reins, so allows the rider to utilize both hands for fighting. That's a good thing. Riders who fight on horseback gain bonuses depending on whether they're stationary or charging. Stationary gives you a +1 to hit unmounted opponents when using weapons with the reach property, because you've got high ground effectively. While charging adds the horse's strength bonus. This is actually really good. A really good setup for horses. Oh, sweet. They reference Modern History TV YouTube. That channel is great. If you haven't watched it, I recommend you. Jason Kingsley has his own horses, and that channel has a lot of hands-on practical examples of horsemanship, especially when combined with medieval fighting. Reach weapons. Unmounted opponents gain an advantage on attacks against mounted riders who are not using weapons with the reach property. For example, a footman with a pike gains advantage attacks against a rider using longsword. Yes, that is totally good. If you've played Mountain Blade, any of the Mountain Blades, you'll know that charging into a bunch of pikes is not a great idea, so that's a good one. Optional armor class. More skilled riders are harder to hit. For every 3 points of animal handling, the horse receives a +1 to its AC up to a maximum +4. And I think this is like almost cribbed from like 3rd edition's riding thing. Maybe? I can't remember. So an unarmored courser with a rider who has animal handling of +6 would be AC 15. 10 plus 3 dex plus 2 animal handling bonus. I like that. These are just nice rules. You got your route C for riding and service. this is another thing that often gets missed, is that characters will purchase like one warhorse and then just be on that all the time. Uh, but you're supposed to have like one horse for battle, or two, because chances are good one horse is going to get wounded, and then one horse for riding. And then if you're playing in a low magic setting, you're probably also going to have like another horse or two for your baggage. So one armored knight is going to have between 2 and 4 horses just for him. That's not counting his retinue. And one thing that one RPG that pays attention to that is, and I keep looking back here, Pendragon. Pendragon goes over that, and they cover in here how large a knightly retinue can get. So when you don't have things like bags of holding and such in a campaign, you do end up with quite a bit of a baggage train. And even when you have bags of holding, if you're following the rules and really focusing on things like encumbrance, they'll have a baggage train anyway if they know what's good for them. So there's your palfrey. That's your riding horse for the nobility, which is an easier ride. Got your stat block for each. Your coursers, your light warhorse. Your destrier is your heavy warhorse. I like this. I really do. Okay, this was the Mighty Horse alternative horse rules for 5th edition. I completely recommend this. It is a pay what you want offering. I've already put the link in there. I'm actually going to just move this. I'm going to use this in my current campaign. Like flat out, I have just added those house rules to my campaign, and I will tell my campaign my players, my Tuesday players are. yeah, Warband and Bonanza. Yeah, seriously though, what was it? That one that's linked in here. I don't know if you watched any of the sword, any of the community of the sword, like Skalagrim or Metatron and such. Modern History TV does for like horses and mounted stuff what they do for like the swords. So I recommend that channel. Especially, I mean, the videos on that channel are not long, so if you do want to do like a horse-based campaign, just like a view of a few of the videos in there are neat. I would say is a must watch. I am going to wrap up the 5th edition section of this and go into the OSR stuff now. But that one was neat. Okay. I have not been that impressed with one of these pay what you want offerings for a long time. So the first one we're going to take a look at for the old school stuff is from Map and Key. It's a pay what you want offering that is an alternate class for old school essentials. It's called the Princess. So if you've got someone playing, which is basically a noblewoman in an OSR setting. So this is pay what you want offering. And I will put the link up in here. Boom. And let's open up the file here. I am a fan of these like alternate classes for OSR stuff. Now, here's the thing, and I don't know if you're familiar with OSE. I covered it a while back. It's basically a Dungeons & Dragons basic expert clone from that period, and that's when you still had main classes. So you had your 4 basic classes, then you had elf and dwarf and things like that. And what I've noticed, and some people did this with Labyrinth Lord, which is a similar kind of setup. is that they would make these like third-party classes for it. And I'm actually a big fan of those, even though I rarely use them. Because it just shows you what you can do with it. So this is a third-party offering for Old School Essentials. So this is basically designed it for his daughter. Hey, you know, if you're creative and you want to do something for your kids, more power to you. So it's a song-based class. So these are princesses that sing. So you start as an anonymous princess. You don't even know that you're a princess. So this is very fairy tale based. Like you'll get like you'll get stuff like I don't want to say Cinderella. Actually, a lot of the fairy tale princesses like knew they were princesses. I guess Cinderella might not have. But you get like this, this girl living in like a yeoman's hut or whatever, but she's got special abilities because, of course, in medieval thought, the nobility, the whole point of nobility was that they were appointed by God, and therefore they had, certain privileges in fable, certain supernatural elements. So this one, they start normal and then they get more and more supernatural as they go on. So they got D4 hit dice, which is magic user and thief level. You get improvised weapons only. You can use any reasonable item as a weapon to deal 1d4 damage. A frying pan, a dried baguette, a priceless vase, a backpack full of rocks. The improvised weapon can never kill, so if you're a princess, and you can tell this is where the dude designed it for his daughters, then they can't kill, but they can knock them out. They can't use real weapons. When attacking an unaware person from behind with an improvised weapon, if the attack succeeds, the victim must... So you can knock people out. So this is very much, knock them out and then don't kill them kind of thing, which I can respect that. I don't think it'd do well in my campaigns, but I can respect that. You can sing songs to invoke mystical powers. See the song section. A princess, upon reaching 0 hit points, is not killed. Again, you see this. This is where the balance falls off. Because this is really more like for somebody, for like a small child or something to play without having to worry about being killed. Only a powerful... so Princess basically gets knocked out instead of getting killed, and a powerful magical effect can awaken her, which fits with the fairy tale thing. Although if I was running this, like if I was running OSE and somebody wanted to play this class, I would totally allow it, but they may not like what happens, because they hit 0 hit points and then they get buried alive or something. Because I'm that kind of DM. Yeah, sometimes I am pretty cruel. Yeah, it's very kid-friendly. I like that. I mean, look, I ain't got kids, but I learned to play when I was like 8. So, I got nothing about kids playing RPGs. Very kid-friendly. I like that. 3rd level, the princess gains a fairy godmother, a powerful magical patron who can be summoned once per adventure. The DM is responsible for deciding how much help the fairy godmother can provide. So after 8th level, an estranged princess learns her rightful claim to a kingdom. She is the heiress to the kingdom, and if she doesn't already have proof of the claim, will know how to obtain it. The kingdom could be an existing kingdom ruled by an enemy. It could be a long-dead kingdom. So instead of like them making their own stronghold, they basically inherit. There's your saving throws laid out. It looks like they've got like elf style saving throws in terms of the progression, I think. I'm not 100% because I haven't memorized every table, but it looks vaguely elf level on the saving throws. Same with the experience. This looks like elf or magic user style experience. Thaco looks, I guess, cleric-y. And then you got 4 levels of songs. Let's take a look at the songs. Song frequency. Each princess song can only be used a number of times indicated by the frequency of the song itself, once per sunrise, once per adventure, or once ever. Oh man, that is brutal. Once ever. You sing it and then you're done. Level 1 songs, or Let It Pass, once per sunrise. You gain 2 plus princess level divided by 3 d6 inspiration dice for the whole day. Inspiration dice can be rolled and added or subtracted from any d20 rolls. So you basically add them or subtract them to a roll. That's not bad. And they can be subtracted from damage taken. So that's good. It's like a self buff that gives you a roaming bonus. Open Up Your Heart, which is once per adventure. You sing a rousing duet with a new person you have just recently met. When you meet an NPC after the DM makes a reaction roll, increase the NPC's reaction rolled by 2 steps. So you sing them, and you sing to them, and they become your friend. And this is your Snow White and your 7 Dwarves thing. My Little Forest Friends. This turns you into a literal Disney princess. The princess can cast animal friendship and speak with animals on one creature. Whistle While You Work. This is level 2, once per adventure. You sing a song to inspire yourself and your companions to accomplish greater things. You went up to 7 companions. There's your 7 Dwarves reference. Gain advantage on the next task you undertake as a group. You increase your chances of success by roughly 50%, or reducing the time it takes. That's not bad. You know what? For what this is, which is a kid-friendly class designed for somebody's kids, I don't have a problem with the balance. It's a little bit on the powerful side for OSC, but it's not, like, really unbalanced. Especially considering all of this stuff is one only. And look at this. You got a limit on the songs, right? Sorry about this. Somebody. Sorry, somebody messaged me. No, this is not unbalanced. What's the highest end? Okay, level 4 songs. There's only one level 4 song. A Dream Is a Wish Your Heart Makes, and then the Disney police run in and start clubbing you until you change the name. Your fairy godmother grants you 1 wish. You can do that once ever. So they have like a built-in wish once at level 10. And it's the fairy godmother, so it's not like going to be like an evil genie wish. It's going to be like a wish that your fairy godmother actually fulfills. But if you're doing the whole Disney thing, the fairy godmothers in Disney movies are like dangerously incompetent at times. So you can still kind of work some mischief in there for granting that wish. Yeah, I don't have a problem with this. It's silly. It's silly, but it's well written and it's balanced. Relatively balanced. Yeah, I don't have a problem with this. That was the princess for Old School Essentials. That's silly, but it's fun. It's fun. I mean, it's fun. I got no problem with it. I liked it. That cheered me up. Okay, what's next? The Cursed House, which I have in a zip file, which tells me it's probably got a lot of files. Oh, no, it's just got 2 versions. One for web and one for print. I'll open up the web version. The Chronicles of Artrusia, Dungeon Module A2, The Cursed House by Tony Garcia. And this is... I've covered one of Voxel House's things before. I remember it being full of typos, but I remember liking it, but it was full of issues. So, oddly enough, I've got something else from Artrusia, too. Hold on a second. Let me take a look at this. The World of Artrusia. A source book for Zmoria Mega Dungeon campaign. Also from Tony Garcia. So let's take a look at this. This one's a 34-page thing. I'm not going to get into it. It's designed for Old School Essentials. This is Voxel House Game Studios, and I will put the link in the chat here shortly. This is for... no, this is for the Cursed House. And then the next one is for the World of Artrusia. Both are pay what you want offerings. And I'll take a look at both of them real quick because they're both from the same setting. And for that matter, is this next one part of the same thing too, or is that different? Let me take a look. Because if I'm taking a look at a bunch... No, this one's different. Okay, good. I was going to say, if I'm going to take a look at the entire freaking series, I need to turn that into something else. Voxel House Game Studio and Elevated Pachyderm Press. So this is for a Mega Dungeon campaign. And I believe it's for something that already exists. Awakening a new world. I only remember floating in limbo for aeons, watching the birth and death of worlds, and passive and unable to do anything. There was no pain, there was no cold, there was nothing. Just silence, and in the end, darkness. What I was left with was just numbness, as if I had drunk a laudanum of, laudanum of Laceria's purple berries. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble reading. Boom! Now my old man eyes can see it. I didn't remember who I was, where I'd come from, or how I'd ended up here. I just floated along the tide of time and infinite space, wandering the aeons, wandering the seas of eternity with no destination. Until one day, a light. It wasn't white, it was purple and vivid and heading towards me fast. Suddenly I experienced the feeling of falling. Startled, I tried to scream, but no sound came from my mouth. After eons, I lost my senses. So this is just the intro, you wake, where the narrators are waking up in the world of Artrusia. I've seen much happen in his long history. So you got a history of the setting, a strange ore, the aerialite. There's a source of energy and power, a magical ore that can lift ships high in the sky and propel large war vessels across battlefields. So it's like just a generic magic stone. So you've got magic is almost entirely dependent on aerolite. So you got wars over it. With huge steam engines, colossal metal warriors, and infantry propelled by steam. So it's kind of almost a steampunk setting, I guess. Except not punk, per se. You've got the 4 races. In the northern hemisphere, humans and orcs. In the southern hemisphere, the Dvalin, known as the steam dwarves. And the Alfir, known as the elves. What happened to the halflings? There ain't no halflings. So you got the history of the various places. This goes in depth. You've got the history of the Orc Kingdom, the history of the Dwarven Kingdom, and the history of the Elves, right? And you got the maps of the areas. Yeah, this is basically this is a detailed setting. It's more detailed than the stuff I've managed to write for my settings. Your free human king, and then it goes into each continent, right? Yeah. I like this. I don't think I'd use it, but keep in mind, this is a background supplement to an already existing setting. And let me take a look. And this basically tells you the legends. I'm not going to look in this in depth. Just know that this source book exists, and it is for, what is it called, Zumoria? So let me take a look. Zumoria. That is not... It does not appear to be on Drive-Thru RPG, so I think this is the one source book. So this, the world of Artrusia, is the setting, even though it's called a Mega Dungeon campaign, but there's no Mega Dungeon written for it yet. It may be coming out in the future. I don't know. They do have the Cursed House and the Pit out. So let's take a look at the Cursed House. It looks like a lot of their stuff, like I covered the Goblin Lair, I think, in my last one. A lot of their stuff is in other languages, which might explain any kind of odd wording, but I didn't see any in that particular one. It looks like they upped their editing game, which I applaud. I applaud, because what happened with the last one, it's got a great amount of lore, and I know I was just skimming it, But I didn't see any weird wording and such like I saw in the last product that I took a look at them from, and they've upped their editing game. Props to them. Props to them. Because, I mean, look, I'm guessing from these names, Carlos Castillo, Guto Preger, Tony Garcia, and the fact that, like, at least half of the products that I saw on the publisher page are, I believe, either in Spanish. I think they're in Spanish. I'm not 100%. Not really good at it. I got to assume that there might have been some language issues when they first started, but this looks good. See, and you can even see it in here in the names, like in the names of the NPCs. Baron Ananias Galvin, and then his son Felipe, Lady Josefa. You got Joanna. These. The Cursed House is our second one-shot style adventure set in the world of Artrusia, focused on the BX system. We will release new modules as often as possible so that you can use systems like BX, CCRPG, or OSC, or any others that are compatible. If you played the Goblin's Lair, that's the one that I had issues with. You will find this adventure very interesting and can even fit it into your campaign, or even, as we talked about earlier, play an afternoon with your game group. It looks like they're upping their game. So, the background is that the Baron's son has been hit by a curse. Everything indicates the young man was cursed by a lady. Yeah, there is an error there. Whose daughter was dishonored by the young man and who was released after such a perfidious act. So this dude dishonored this lady's daughter and she cursed him. Which I don't blame it. This is like classic stuff. Felipe seduced the girl and did not want to make the commitment of wedlock, so Lady Josefa, knowledgeable of necromancy and magic, cast a spell on Felipe while he was on vacation in the countryside. Yeah, you do not mess with the daughter of a necromancer, man. That takes... like, in a world where magic exists, you do not screw around with the daughters of witches and necromancers. Because that is a quick way to get cursed. I'm loving the map. It's clean. It's well done. It references that setting that we just covered. So here you've got like a quick rundown of the setting, which you can get more details on in the Protrusia. The layout's good. So this is basically your broadsheet here, which is your handout for your background. Not so big on the battle maps here, but I guess they're well done enough. Looks very copy pasted in there. You can tell they made it in the map program, but it's better than Scrawls. I like it. So you basically get a country house that you get to investigate. It's full of zombies. You've got a guard house separate. Again, it looks like it's got random scatterings of undead. If you find this message, we are lost. I kept this gem in the hopes I would escape this strange curse that fell on me. Several of us already become zombies, and the Baron's son is the worst of all of us. Since you arrived here, everything has gone to hell. Please take this gem to my sister in Crimson Water. Her name is Pearl. So you get a sub quest. Go into the servant's house. Do they have like a map of it all? Like, these are all the individual portions of this manor, but they don't have a map of the manor like overall, which I find vaguely disappointing. No, yes they do. It's right up here, right? I'm blind. It's right here. What the hell was I talking about? So this is the dirt road. This is the guardhouse here, which is listed up here. Then this is the servant's house, which is listed on the next page. And this is the main manor house, which is like a 3 or 4 page, 3 or 4 story thing. But in terms of content, you've got clues as to where the curse is. But in terms of, like, combat encounters, it looks like it's mostly just zombies and a couple skeletons. Like, this module leans very heavy onto the story. Because you've got, like, 3 skeletons, like, 5 zombies, 2 zombies, 4 skeletons. So in terms of combat, the combat itself is not interesting. It's mostly very basic combat against detailed set pieces. Like a ballroom, a tea room, the latrines. But not actually a lot of really interesting, like, tactical stuff. Like, even where it is showing, like, skeletons and zombies, they're all armed with melee stuff. There's no, like, tactically interesting combat. So it's all about the story, which I don't have a problem with. But just know that it is very story focused. And then the last one is Felipe the Youth turned into a zombie that attacks them, and he's like a 4th level fighter. And you get to if you drop him to 0 or negative hit points, you break the curse. So you actually have to kill him to break the curse. And that breaks the curse on everybody. Okay. But you don't ever actually fight the lady. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, you don't ever fight the lady. But you here we go. That's in the bonus quest. There you go. Well, here's the thing about that is that necromancers, like, they're not all undead. And they can have, they have families and such, some of them. So it may be odd in some ways, but, not all necromancers are going to be so focused on graves. If you look in the Complete Guide to Necromancers, which I still think is one of the... Let's see, where is it? The Complete Book of Necromancers from 2nd edition. It has different types of necromancers in here, as well as potential motivations. And that includes even necromancers that may not be good, but they're close to good. And some of them have a motivation, not necessarily of, like, creating death, but, like, finding eternal life. And one of those ways is children. So it does fit in on some of them. Some of them not so much. I think that I think this is a well-written module, and mechanically it is much better. It is much better written than their first one. Like the improvement is just astounding. Like, their first one was what, Goblin Lair or whatever? Yeah, their first one was kind of hit or miss. This one, I think, is much, much better written. Like, on another level better written. Not tactically complex, but better written overall. I like it. That was The Cursed House. So I got 3 more in the OSR thing. The next one's called The Fight Job. The Fight Job is a pay-what-you-want offering. I'll link it in. Yeah, it's just interesting to have villains with different motivations, you know. And I guess a protective mother is about as good as you can get. I haven't even taken a look at this, so this could be entirely trash. So let me take a look. What even is this? I don't even know what this is, except that it's the fight job. Hold on a sec. Okay. Okay, the fight job is a city caper for old school RPGs. The module is 14 pages long and contains 8 keyed locations, an adventure summary, a city map, and a GM facing adventure aids. A minor crime boss has recruited the PCs to sabotage the championship fight. She has 1,000 gold pieces on a long shot challenger and promises a hefty payday to the gang if they can succeed. Alright, so you've basically got to make sure this make sure this crime lord wins on a fixed fight, I guess. I will say this: not a huge fan of the not a huge fan of the layout and the font here. In fact, this font is giving me a migraine. Okay, let's just scan it real quick. Like, my headache from earlier just got worse looking at the titles. You got your basic maps, nothing too major. Let's go ahead and drop this down to fit one full page, shall we? Yeah, this layout, man. Oh. It's giving me a migraine, man. In this module, the player characters are recruited to sabotage the championship pit fighting match in the border city of Daravisk. If they can keep the reigning champion, a mutilated dwarf named Kumilt, from winning the match, the boss will pay the group 10,000 gold pieces. The PCs start the adventure with access to Kumilt's pre-fight schedule. The schedule shows several pre-fight activities and rituals, all of which fortify the reigning champion and increase his chances of victory. A minor crime boss, a middle-aged extortionist named Fiona, recruits the PCs to sabotage the fight. Yeah, that's a whoever decided to do that fight, you picked wrong. You done wrong. I'm gonna knock a star off for that font alone. But the idea, here's the thing. I really like unique heist and caper-based campaign or adventures. So anything like this that's not just a strict dungeon crawl. I mean, I love dungeon crawls, don't get me wrong, but anything like this is like a breath of fresh air, and it's something I don't get to see a lot of. So, drop this out. Hold on a sec, I keep getting distracted because I got something going in the background too. So anything like this is good. So, basically, this minor crime boss has front-loaded a lot of bets against the current champion, and now you got to sabotage the champion so she can make do on those bets. So you basically have to... this gives you background on the dwarf himself. This gives the chances of the dwarf fighting, or the dwarf winning. So this dwarf goes around town and he performs rituals and gets like a little buff from each one. So your point, your idea, like your whole good here, is to go ahead and reduce this guy's odds of winning to 0 in 6 or close, without killing him. Because if Kumalt is dead or unconscious when the fight starts, all the bets will be nullified. So you can't kill him. So you have to think. And you've got a limit. It's on a time limit. And every location is 30 minutes apart. So you've got a time limit. So here's your buffs. Lunch at Chop House. If you interrupt that. Silver maintenance at the smithy. Interrupts that. Druid's blessing at the gym. You can interrupt that. And then nerfs. Make a tally below each time Kumilt is nerfed. Nerfs include any experience in which Kumilt is poisoned, seriously hurt, cursed, etc. Yeah, you got to replace the steroids with sugar pills or with laxatives or something, because look, you can have him poisoned too. So if he goes out for lunch at the Chop House, you can not only deny him the buff, but then poison him or something. All right, I was talking trash about the font, and the layout of this is not doing any of it's any favors. Like, this adventure's layout is not doing any favors. But the concept of this, I'm loving the concept of this. And this orange soda made my headache go away. Thank God. Guard defender. So these are like the people that you can run into. Your guards. Kumilt and his trainer, Jamie. Or Jane? Yeah, his trainer's Jane. And the fighter's name is Kumilt. There's the map of the city with all of the locations that you need. And here's his rituals. 10 o'clock, wake up. 11 o'clock, eat lunch. 12 o'clock, smithy. 13, gym. 14, Ginny's. 15, alone time outside of town. 16, the fight. So you do get the description. And you know what this reminds me of? Is if you've played Skyrim and you've got to track... If you've done the Dark Brotherhood quest in Skyrim, which I think were criminally underdeveloped. But that's neither here nor there. But one of those quests has you tracking down the son of the Oculus Pentatus or whatever. And you get a schedule. And it tells you where he's going on each given day. So you've got to like find him on that day. This is similar to that, except you've got to intercept this guy multiple times during the day and interfere with his routine. And these are basically your options to meet people. You got your urchins. You got your the places that you can meet them at. I don't know. I like this. And at the end of the day, after you've gone over it all, then you get to watch the fight. And the fight has to happen, and then you basically roll this. And if he wins, or if he loses, then you get your money. Yeah, oh yeah, man. The Dark Brotherhood one in Oblivion was awesome, man. Like, it's funny, man, because I'm not a big fan of some of the Oblivion quest lines, but yeah, compared to the Oblivion one, it's just the Skyrim one. A lot of the Skyrim quests were weak sauce. The only reason I play Skyrim to this day is because I always mod it like really heavily. That's one thing they did right was they modded it real well. They made it easy to mod. Speaking of, if Nexus mods messed things up, man, I may not be able to mod it like I wanted to anymore because they seriously messed things up. One thing I haven't played, and I probably should, is I've never played through. They don't have the Dark Brotherhood in Morrowind, but they've got well, they do, but it's not joinable. But they've got the Morag Tong or whatever it is, the Dark Elf version. I have never played through the Dark Elf version of it, and I feel like I should sometime. Like, I should make a separate playthrough of Morrowind just to play through that, because I have never played through it before. And it's been a long time since I've done my Morrowind Let's Play. I should hit up some more Elder Scrolls things. I've done all of the mainline Elder Scrolls ones. I'm currently, because I've finished up Fallout 2. Yeah, mods are Bethesda's life. Mods are a lot of people's lifelines at this point, and they're trying to make them. Bethesda isn't messing them up, but now the major mod sites are throwing a wrench in their capabilities. I finished Fallout 2, and I've got I will be posting the rest of it within the week. Uh, but I put up for my patrons and my supporters the poll for the next Let's Plays for the channel. And on that list, I've got Battle Spires. So I may be playing Battle Spires. Probably not, but we'll see. I may be playing Battle Spires. I need to just play more. I need to play more old Elder Scrolls stuff. And I may do that on my secondary channel. Because I need to get more content up. I need to get more tabletop content up on this channel. Anyway, enough of that. This one, love the concept. Execution looks cool. The presentation bites. Whoever designed this thing, oh god, this looks this is so trash. I'm sorry. Your maps are even okay. It's just the overall presentation is trash. I love the concept and the execution though. It's like well written. It's got good execution, but the presentation is garbage. Let's go to the next one. The next one is One Sheet Rules. And I don't even know if this one's going to be worthwhile. One Sheet Rules. What are One Sheet Rules? One Sheet Rules is an ultralight, classless, levelless game compatible with an OSR system. So this is like another Heartbreaker type deal. Except it's free. And it's one sheet. So I can't even imagine that it's a Heartbreaker. It's just like, there you go. One Sheet Rules. Where is this? Here we go. Well, it's one page. No, it's 2 pages. It's 2 pages. I guess it's front and back, and most of this is licensing and stuff. So, all right, these kinds of games amuse me sometimes. Character creation. Assign 3 points to your stats any way you see fit. There's only 3 stats: strength, dexterity, and intelligence. Hit points. Roll 3d3 to find out how many hit points you have. So that's up between 3 and 9. Choose a talent, something your character's so good at they get advantage. Great Sword Expert would give you advantage when rolling to hit with a 2-handed sword. Burglar would give you advantage when climbing or moving. Your inventory slots equal to 10 plus strength. And similar to some of the games I've looked at, I'm presuming that since there's only 3 points in these stats, you will have like a bonus between 0 and 3 in one stat, and then like others. So you just use the stat as the bonus. One is add to the difficulty of all strength and dex checks. If you exceed that, choose 3 items of gear, so that streamline gear purchase. Weapons are abstracted to either light, medium, or heavy. They take up 1, 2, and 3 inventory slots respectively. Each level of armor gives a +2 to armor defense and takes up 2 inventory slots, so you can have multiple levels of armor. Thieves' tools are needed to pick locks. Spellbooks contain an individual spell, one individual spell, which you can cast once per day. But there is no spell list. There is no spell list. To do so, you must hold in both hands. Unless otherwise stated, all spells have a range of near if the spell affects. It says, oh, here we go. Here's your spell list. You got sleep, heal, light, or invisibility, or fireball. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. And these are your rules. At the start of combat, roll d20. If the result 11 plus the players go first, otherwise monsters do. 4 abstract ranges: close, near, far, and distant. On the turn, the character can move somewhere near and perform an action. So you've got distance-based movement, which I actually am. I am fond of the distance-based. I am fond of distance-based movements and ranges, only because for a very long time I ran stuff on IRC in a freeform kind of setting. And I used basically an abstracted system of near, medium, and far ranges in that. So I kind of adapt naturally to that kind of thing. So I really don't have a problem with that. And hey, it's been a while. Yeah, I need to do more tabletop stuff. I have my review of Cepheus Light done, finally. It's actually been done and on my system for 3 weeks now. And I only just now edited it and put it up. So it will be hitting. It will be up soon. And here's the thing: if you want to know more about the reviews, I have reviews of some Maximum Mayhem Dungeon stuff up coming up because they sent me that box set, and I wrote the reviews for like 3 modules for Maximum Mayhem Dungeons, and I have no idea where the script went. I spent 2 days writing this script, and I saved it, and it's just gone. I looked for 4 hours for this thing across 3 computers. I have no idea where this file is. Like, zero. Yeah. I've got to edit stuff. I've got to produce more tabletop stuff. I am losing patrons, and I am losing subscribers because I have not been able to get stuff done. And part of it's just because summer always just kicks me in the head, and part of it's just because of bad luck. Like, I had stuff written, and it's just gone. And I think what happened with that was I went to save it, and it just never actually saved, and I was just feeling bad that day, so I apparently didn't check whether it saved or not. It happens. Anyway, this one-sheet rules, I've seen... I hate to say it. Like, I'm not even being ironic about this. I know you joke, like you said, too complicated. I'm not even ironic about this. This is more complex than the easiest OSR-compatible rules I've seen. That's messed up. I don't think it's bad, though. It's well written. But I've literally seen simpler rules than one-sheet rules that do more stuff. And let that sink in. Not only simpler than this, but that do more things. And are still one page. So, they're not bad. One-sheet rules, it covers everything. I would run this. I could run this. It's not bad. Old Space 1889. I still have not played that. I've still not looked at. I need to look that up. Like the old original one, not the redo, right? Yeah, so this is one-sheet rules, and it's a mashup of the Black Hack and Knave. I have not played or reviewed Knave, but I know the Black Hack, and I love the Black Hack, even though I almost never run it. But I could tell the Black Hack inspiration of it. Yeah, I need to take a look at stuff. I got so much stuff to take a look at, and summer just hammers me on stuff. Anyway, that was one-sheet rules. I'm going to move on to the last OSR thing I've got for today. Yeah, summer is just terrible for me. And here's the issue. It's not even all about my schedule. This is Grand Limbo. Let me post it in the link. It's a pay-what-you-want offering. Here's the link. And what it is that you are a spirit wandering through Grand Limbo, an infinite forest full of secrets and mysteries, inhabited by spirits, creatures, and entities. You appear at the Sanctuary, an enormous building in the center of the world. As a spirit, you are searching for your memories to choose what to do with your destiny. So it's an RPG about spirits and memories for more than one or more players. It's inspired by Hayao Miyazaki movies Over the Garden Wall and Ikeo Aoba's music. It was created for the one-page RPG Jam, so I'm expecting this to be one page. We shall see. But yeah, my summers are notoriously bad. And it usually is bad for 2 or 3 months. Like, I have almost lost my channel. Like, I have had stuff slowed down to a crawl for summers. I've had this channel since 2014, there and abouts. And I started 2014 after summer. But every single summer since 2014, it has just slowed down to a freaking crawl because everything happens. My main job is taking care of rental properties for my folks. And summer is when everything hits the fan on those. Last year actually wasn't so bad, but that was because everybody was kind of locked down. But then I deal with my sister's crises in summer, and people tend to have health problems in summer because I also take care of my elderly parents. So summertime, for some reason, it's just like everything explodes. And so the fact that I got any videos done at all this summer is like just spectacular for me. So now I need to get back into it and do the rest. Anyway, Grand Limbo. So you create a spirit. What did they leave behind? You describe a memory that your spirit retains from their past life. This was created for a one-page RPG. Let's see. Is it one page? It's, yeah, one page front and back. Oh, yeah, no problem, man. I here's the thing. Like, the way that the economy is going and stuff, the way that the economy is going, I'm surprised that I have patrons at all right now. I got to be honest, man. And I do not blame. If people need to keep, if secure your own bags before you support me, you know. But the simple fact of the matter is that I got to get stuff out, you know. I got to get more videos out because if I do things right, then I don't need to worry about Patreon support, because I'll be getting kickbacks from from affiliate links. God, why did that slip my mind? Hey man, what's up? Duke, yeah, he's one of my longtime supporters. He's in one of my my patron D&D games, which I need to start posting some videos of, because I've got some good ones. I got some, especially after today, man. Especially after earlier today, I got some good ones. Had my second edition group do a total party wipe almost twice in a row. Same group. Anyway, let's take a look at Grand Limbo. I'm sorry, I got distracted. My bad. My bad. So this is going to be played in two different ways. You can choose one person to be the moderator and narrator, and the rest take the role of spirits. Or alternately, you can all play as spirits and share the responsibility of moderation, because sharing is the new way that people do things. God. Through narration, the group or individual is presented with scenes and situations in which they, as spirits, must act or react. Moderation comes into play whenever a spirit tries to do something that involves quickness, danger, or whose outcome is uncertain. In this situation, the spirit must roll 2 6-sided dice. Oh, yeah, man. Yeah. Oh, and it wasn't even their fault. Well, I mean, it was kind of their fault, but it wasn't, like, totally their fault, because the dice were cruel to them twice in a row. But mistakes were made, and then mistakes were made again. And they survived in the end, which is the important part, but I have a feeling they're kind of demoralized, and I'm trying to give them as much breathing room as possible. Not only because they're paying me to play, but also because I felt bad for them, because they had so many dice rolls just come after them. It was like Klaus was not rolling above like a 4 like the entire time. It was sad. I'm sorry. I need to take a look at this. But part of the problem is that this one-page RPG is this weird combination of artsy and boring. I'm sorry, Grand Limbo. I'm sorry, Antigonia 404. I'm sorry. But your shit's boring. I hate to say it. It's atmospheric. You're playing spirits looking for memories. But your stuff's boring, man. So boring. It's a storytelling game rather than a... Like, here's the thing. I'm not a big... I know it's weird because I really like stories in my RPGs, but when that's all there is, it just seems more like a... See, here's the thing. I am not a person that does a lot of technical jargon. So you'll note that I'm very... That even though I can describe things in detail across different types of specializations, I don't know the technical jargon thereon. thereof. But when you talk about a storyteller game that is based on fragmented memories and everything is super abstract, I stop looking at that as like a role-playing game in the gaming sense and start looking at that as either like a writing tool or like a psychodrama style tool. And that veers away from the gaming sphere where I'm most comfortable. I don't know if I'm getting the point across there, but I'm absolutely certain that this Grand Limbo is doing what it set out to do. Mechanically, there's 2d6 versus a static DC. There is a randomized motivation. There is a randomized location. And there is a hex map where you put the randomized locations that have randomized motivations and randomized quests therein. Mechanically, this is not terrible. But it's very much... This is very much an art product, not a viable, like, entertainment product. You know? And I'm sure that it does its one thing very well. It's the inspirations are like Spirited Away, great inspiration. Princess Mononoke, great inspiration. Pan's Labyrinth, great inspiration. Where the Wild Things Are, great inspiration. I just don't know if it fully realizes that. There's a hell of a lot of abstraction here. I believe that if this core was taken, I know the goal was to make it like a one-page thing, and it did that, but I believe that in order to properly pay the inspiration material its due, and to actually become like that, that this needs to be about a 10-page document minimum, because this stuff is just abstracted to the point where I'm not even following it well enough to really get into it. And that is my main criticism of Grand Limbo. Grand Limbo does what it does, but I think it needs more. And the whole point of it was that it was not supposed to need more. So, yeah. I don't even think it was OSR. I think this should have been an other. But it said it was OSR. I feel lied to. Shall we move on? There are 5 things in my other group here. So, the first is going to be Guild Adventures Arena of Doom. And it says it's a free offering. Let me take a look. I remember Guild Adventures is a game book. It is a game book, so I'm not going to go in super depth. Oh, it's no longer free. It's $5.99. It's not a free offering anymore. I knew it was too good to be true. It is a game book. Shall I breeze over it anyway? I think I will. I'm not going to take a look in depth, but let's just take a quick scan. Guild Adventures Arena of Doom, currently $5.99, is 179 pages long. And it is needs 6-sided dice. You can actually just use this to generate it if you don't have 6-sided dice. Combat rules are... Oh, there's 18 different gladiators. You can pick from one of 18 characters. You got your basic dice rolls. It's 1d6 plus sum of attributes. This is very game booky. Yeah. Here's your selection of gladiators. Each one has bonuses that they get. Got a lot of them. Got a little bit too much of them. You got your additional instructions, and then it's just a programmatic adventure. And you're basically fighting in an arena. As it's called, the Arena of Doom. And you do turn to page X. And then if you win, you turn to page 36 or whatever. And then you go on an adventure in a very game book style. I like the artwork. Every page is a separate thing. Kind of really limits what they can do. I like what they're going for. I don't see... I think there are better options out there. But they're so rare to see new ones now. And a lot of this is stock art I'm recognizing. Yeah, a lot of this... This is like a way more freeform version of the old game books. I like the idea that they're going for a new game book. Yeah, it's like... It's like... Yeah, it's like... If I wanted to play something like that, I would just play the Fantasy Trip. Exactly. You know? When I'm playing a game book, I want more, you know, depth. Like, I want something like the old fighting fantasy books. If I wanted to play a solo tournament, then I would play the Fantasy Trip. I like the idea that they're coming out with more game books, though, so, you know. I thought about writing a game book once, but then I realized I remembered I was lazy. All right, next. Let me make sure this next one. Yeah, that was a Guild Adventures of Arena of Doom. I'm gonna put the link in anyway. It is not a free product, so yeah, I don't know what was going on there. I guess I got it for free. But, next is Bright Hammer, and I'm gonna make sure that one's still free. Okay, now that one's PDF. That one's a pay what you want. Bright Hammer is a rules-light, high fantasy role-playing game based on Sledgehammer by, and I can't even say that name because YouTube will come down on me like a ton of bricks. Sorry. Bright Hammer. Yeah, I gotta admit I am a little lazy because there's so much stuff in my backlog, and I'm trying to get through it. But I'm not gonna lie and tell you that I'm working like 20 hours a day on it or something. I work for 8 hours a day, and then I sleep for 8 hours, and then I spend the remainder with family and stuff. So it's, yeah, I'm not one to work. I'm not one to burn the candle at both ends, let's say. Although I probably should, because the way things are going, I need to get my bag set. Okay. Bright Hammer, a rules light. Oh God. No, this is one of those things you got to print out and look at. Fuck. I kind of hate this. I'm gonna have to print out. I'm gonna have to print it out. Let's not print it out. Let's rotate. There we go. Bright Hammer, rules light. Rules. Yeah, pretty. I mean, they're well designed. One player is the game master. The GM controls and describes the world. The other players create characters that inhabit the world. Thank you for describing that on a card, on a thing, in a rule set where space is limited. If an action's outcome is ever uncertain, roll 1d100 on an appropriate stat to succeed. If something you know or are skilled at from your heritage or class would help. Oh, great. They're using heritage instead of race. I need to like just... the thing about it is, every time you see something like that, you need to say it with the most southern twang available. So when you're talking about someone's heritage and ancestry, and make it sound exactly how it reads. Add +10 to the number you need to roll under. If a piece of equipment you have or an element of the scene or environment would help, add +10 to the number you need to roll under. Combat. If an attack roll is successful, you deal damage equal to the first digit of the tens die. A roll of 25 minus 2. A roll of 25 would be 2 damage. That's not too bad. I mean, this is different. It's a D100 thing. Add an ongoing +10 to the number you need to roll under when you're in combat. Whenever you defend an ally or innocent, deal damage with an attack, create an opening for yourself or an ally without dealing damage. So you can add advantage to stuff for basically succeeding at stuff or doing good deeds. When you mark your last wound, you die. Fate. Mark a segment of your fate deck whenever the roll doubles. Whenever you roll doubles, erase a segment of your fate clock. This is like complex for something that's got to fit in your pocket. Gain +10 to a roll. Prevent damage from an attack. Heal 1d6 wounds out of combat. Survive past your 5th wound. So every time that you roll doubles, you get like a fate point, and then you remove fate points in order to gain those abilities. Yeah, I'm man, it's stupid. It's ridiculous. Like every time it's got bad, man. Now I don't want to make too many videos on that shit because YouTube will like you see they do that. Check this out. They make sure to use heritage instead of race, right? But then you look at this and it's based on Sledgehammer by the author name, which I can't even say on YouTube without YouTube flagging this. Do you see how silly this is? It's good of you to credit the dude, and I am going to use the word dude, but this is stupid. And I don't even know what I can say on YouTube anymore, man. My channel's, I have enough problems getting people to watch my channel. I can't test the algorithm like at all. I have a hard time even making fun of things in character when I'm doing Let's Plays anymore, man. I kind of didn't care with Fallout 2. I loved Fallout 2. Character creation. Roll 66 plus 10 4 times. This just seems. I like the selection of heritages. I like the selections of heritages. Animalborn, I have no idea what the hell those are. Dwarves, elves, fiendskin, goblin, halfling, human, lizardfolk, orc. That's a good selection for something that fits on 6 cards. Classes: Artificer, Barbarian, Bard, Cleric, Druid, Fighter, Paladin, Ranger, Thief, Sorcerer, Warlock, Wizard. Good selection of classes. Oh yeah, man. There's a reason why, man. I'm getting so sick of walking on eggshells, man. Fuck. Running the game. Rolls. Only call. My problem is that this is a rules light game. And these rules are kind of obtuse. I think it's well designed. It's pretty as hell. I mean, don't get me wrong. These are pretty as hell. I like the design. The writing is decent. And I like the fate points. But the rules are just obtuse enough that they really need like a full book. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I know that I've got 4 stats, and I know that we've got these, right? For the numbers. But then you've got 4 things you're skilled at, and over here, I guess that there's a mechanic for things that you're skilled at or not. But then you have to like you like have to cross-reference it with this advantage part, and then the rules are an entirely different area. And then instead of like just a straight D100 versus a difficulty, it's like D100 divided by 10 floor, which is floor, which is like the first digit of the tens die to determine the effect. I see what they're going for here, but the rules are just obtuse enough that it's not really a rules. It's a rules-like game in basically name only. I do like how easy it is to determine the creature's stats. Alright, so that's Bright Hammer. It's a good attempt. It's a great attempt. Who's the art by? Hold on. I love this art. Give me a second. Like, if nothing else, art by Hodag RPG. If nothing else, the art is good. I like that. Yeah, so that's Bright Hammer. Let's see what else we got on the list today. I'm going to go through the whole thing because we're almost done here. We got 3 more items. 3 more items on the list. And at the rate that it's been going tonight. Oh, this one's nice. This one's for the Cepheus engine. People that like the Traveler stuff are going to like this. The Sleeper Awakens. It is a pay-what-you-want OSR offering that is compatible with the Cepheus engine. And since it's OSR, I wonder if it's compatible with Cepheus engine Lite. The Sleeper Awakens. Just pay what you want. Here's the link. Boom. The Sleeper Awakens. I am not in love with the fact that this title is in set this far. It's from Joseph Moore, and I believe that I've actually seen things by Joseph Moore before. In all of the titles that I've seen have had this issue where the title is like in set. And it got to the point where I stopped mentioning them in my RPG News Roundup, because you know how I post the title in the corner above my head, or I don't know where it appears. I think it appears like up here when I'm doing the RPG News Roundup. And when you've got something in set like that, what it ends up being is there's a big white box with the title with the title like right in the middle, and I don't have time to edit that down. So take that what you will. This is a Cepheus engine adventure. The Sleeper Awakens. Nice font, but that's hard to read. Old school role playing. So it is an OSR one. And they've got a blog, oldschoolroleplaying.com, and I think that they've produced things for other systems before. All maps used in this adventure were under the commercial license provided by Miska Maps. These maps can be found at miskamaps.com/public domain maps. Written by Joseph Moore, artwork by various artists as follows: Mech Warfare, public domain; Desert Nomad just uses public domain material. Alright. While in a starport, the travelers are approached by a trio of young men from the primary planet in the Yalage system. These men identify themselves as freedom fighters who are defending their world from invasion by forces from the Joram family. This is news to the travelers, as there has been no declaration of war in the sector and no red or amber advisory has been declared for that system. This invasion does not seem to be well known. These men inform the travelers that the Joram family has already bombarded all of the major cities in the world and are expected to begin landing ground forces soon to clean up all the resistance. The Joram family is known sector-wide for their brutal treatment of the citizens of their worlds and for the horrible pollution caused by their industrial efforts. The men state that they are in dire need of assistance and are willing to pay for it. They are seeking help with a project that may help them in resisting the ground forces of the Joram family. Recently, an archaeological team from Lage was working on an expedition in the desert world of Marar. Marar is another system in the same subsector as the Lage and is close by. According to these archaeologists, there's a massive buried combat robot in the sands of Marar's southern hemisphere. This robot has been partially excavated, but the project was halted after aggression against the Wagi homeworld. What is known about the robot is that it was made by an alien race that once invaded Marar thousands of years ago. Yeah, Warrior, Rogue, and Mage. I don't know, I may have. Warrior, Rogue, and Mage. See, here's the thing about these. I have checked that out. I have totally checked it. I think I checked that out like yeah, I checked that out last time. Warrior, Rogue, and Mage. Yeah, I remember that. I think I did. No, apparently I didn't. Wow, okay. This is what I meant to check out, and I never got around to it. I may have to get that next time. I'm gonna check that out free. Yeah, basically what I do is that every time I do my RPG News Roundup, for those who don't know, I'm checking that out right now. Warrior, Rogue, and Mage. You might see that. Hell, if I have enough time, I might do that tonight. I'm going to download that real quick. But anyway, for those who don't know, what I basically do is when I do my RPG News Roundups every week, use the R word, the alien race, the alien heritage. See, it doesn't work. Yeah, basically what I do is every weekend when I do my RPG News Roundup, I look through and I do independent role-playing game adventures and stuff, right? And I don't do a lot of them. I just cover them real quick. But if I see one that's free or pay what you want and it looks interesting, I bookmark it, right? And every time I get about a dozen or so, and that happens like about every month and a half, then I just spend some time and go through and I just cover them like this off the top of my head. And sometimes I find some real gems, and sometimes I find complete trash. Oh no, a freedom fighter named Muhammad. Army General Muhammad Singh. What's that? It's actually, what is that? That's Sikh, isn't it? Sikh? I can pronounce it, I promise. It's this chipped tooth that's messing with me. I still need to get that fixed, but the problem is that I'm also broke. I busted my tooth earlier in the year, and I haven't had a chance to get it fixed. Other things have come up. Anyway, Yen Santos, he's 22. Rogue Hamza Tanaka. And I believe these are the these are the IDs, like the personnel codes that tell you their stats. This is growing on me. I never knew about it until I did the Cepheus engine stuff, and now it's growing on me because it makes the stat block so compact. Missions of this sort are always complications. Sometimes the patron does not disclose all the potential hazards. Sometimes there are others who have competing interests. Complication in this scenario, so you've got your complications, which is Joram warships regularly bombarding the area, which I guess you could get. The universal personnel profile or whatever it is. I like it, man. Marar is a dangerous place to visit. Sandstorms can appear rather suddenly, blinding anyone in the area. The few people who live on Marar are hostile to everyone who visits. They're not always violent, but off and on. One might say that they are sometimes mostly peaceful. The robot is still partially buried. It has no legs or arms or any more. In fact, it has no lower torso at all. A number of important systems of the robot are in disrepair, so it needs to be fixed. They're basically trying to revive a torso. It will take electronics, computers, engineering, and other skills to put this robot back together again. The robot expended all of its ordnance during combat long ago. So these guys hope, their entire hope for fighting off this invasion is dependent on a disassembled, disarmed robot. Bringing this large object to Log A will take a ship capable of carrying it. The bot could be disassembled and reassembled on Log A, but this might be during combat conditions. Despite the promises of the trio of patrons, there is really no money available. So let me get this straight. You're going to brave bombardment. You're going to go to a dangerous area. You're going to find this, like, torso of a robot that needs to be completely rebuilt and rearmed, then transported to another city, and then, just to get you, you won't get paid unless they win their war. Now, the travelers, and it uses the term travelers, so I'm going to use that term. The travelers don't know this part, so this is the kind of way to screw the party. Like, this is the kind of way to screw the party that I don't even do, man. But I like it. Heroes Against Darkness. I think I've reviewed like all. Well, I haven't reviewed those. No, they've been on my list. Blood, Guts, and Glory. I think I took a look at. I liked it. I haven't looked at Dominion rules. Heroes Against Darkness. Heroes Against Darkness. I have not. No, I was thinking about something else. I have not even heard of Heroes Against Darkness. So you got repair work. The object of this mission is to repair the robot. Everything else that happens is secondary. So you got random encounters when you're out there. Every day spent at the site should be a roll to made to determine if any nomads arrive. You're basically the Vions. How do you even pronounce this? P-V-I-O-N-S. Vions. The Vions. I can't even pronounce that. So there is time constraints. You have 10 days to fix this thing and transport it. And the thing about it is this. Traveling from planet to planet. No, I've played some 4E turned OSR stuff before and I've liked it. So I might take a look at Heroes Against Darkness. Let me take a look. I might even have it on a system somewhere ready to review, and I just never got to it because I've been having this huge backlog of stuff. Like, I have literally... Yeah, I've purchased this title. I've got this title. I think... Yeah, this has been on my to-do list. Heroes Against Darkness. I think I may have even looked at it once, but I didn't do a proper full flip through. Heroes Against Darkness looks neat. Let me get back to this. Okay, so he gives you your patrol frigates that you're going to encounter during the Joram blockade. So you've got a massive robot walker. Do we have a map? Is it something you can go into? This just describes the different parts of the robot. Here's desert nomads that can interact with you while you are dealing with it. And they're all detailed, and this all your stat blocks. The only problem, and I have reviewed stuff by Joseph Moore before, and the only problem I've had is his stuff is usually pretty well written, but the formatting is like terrible. Well, it's not terrible, it's just like very basic. The formatting is like very basic. Yeah, Heroes Against Darkness, I need to take a look at it. Anyway, here you go. You got your map. This is your robot. This is your robot. And you just climb down, and you got to go through here, and it turns into a dungeon crawl to clear it. But it's not really a dungeon crawl. Let's take a look up here. This is just like the parts, but there's nothing in there. So it's not really a dungeon crawl. It's more about telling you the parts in it in case you get ambushed from outside. So it's almost like a reverse dungeon crawl. Because you've got these random desert nomads, right? These nomads call themselves the Holy Ones. They're extremely hostile to outsiders, anyone from off-world. So this is kind of like a reverse dungeon crawl, because you'll be sitting here on this planet trying to repair this thing for upwards of 5 or 6 days. And these nomads will intermittently come, and you're basically defending this robot from them. That's actually neat. I actually kind of like that. Alright. So that's not a bad adventure. It's got a lot of potential there, the Sleeper Awakens. That was the Sleeper Awakens. Alright, I got 2 more things that I wanted to get to tonight. Let me see if they're all still up. And I may do like a full review of Warrior Mage sometime. Next is Monster Party. It is a one-shot mini RPG where you play monsters of the golden age of Hollywood. It is a pay-what-you-want offering. So let me get to that. Yeah, the travelers leave with a robot as payment. One of the things in that book was that the original owners of the robot can come and try and take it back. Anyway, this is Monster Party. And again, if you're watching this later, I will put all of the links in the description when I get around to it. Which will probably be a couple days, because usually when I'm done with one of these streams, it takes like forever to process. Monster Party by Andreas Shoot. Is that how you pronounce that? I don't know how to pronounce that. So yeah, this is basically a one-shot where you play the classic monsters of Hollywood, which is basically the Universal monsters. It's a 15-page introduction to the scene to the Dramatis Personae, because it is one-shot. This is a role-playing game intended to be played for one session as a one-shot. The rules behind Monster Party are taken from the RPG Honey Heist. So in a sense, Monster Party is a Honey Heist mod. It uses the same mechanics, but a new look. So let's take a look. I love how it gives you like a full fucking paragraph about how it's okay to play like a trans version or a female version of these classic monsters. The hell, man? Why does it even matter? There's already various versions of these monsters in the Universal canon. Like, even if you want to go that way, there's already like female Dracula, female Frankenstein, things like that. They're hokey, but they're there. Okay, so there's 6 different monsters you can choose from, and since these monsters are portrayed very differently throughout time, you can also choose from 6 different rolls. Of course, if you prefer it a bit more random, you can roll a d6. Okay, so you got Count Dracula, the number 1, the big one. You're very good at manipulating others, but a bit out of touch with the modern world. If your human stat ever reaches 6, then you're overcome with guilt and weakness, becoming a vegan vampire or joining a cloister as a monk. If the monster stat ever reaches 6, then your own instincts and desire overcome you, making a creature of hunger and lust. Alright. Frankenstein's monster, you're a strong, silent one that everyone knows except for your name. They seem to be very undecided about your name, and yes, Frankenstein is not it. You're his monster. You've got heavy lifting you're good at, and fear open fire that you're bad at. Don't have sex. God damn. I do. Yeah, dude, I don't even understand anymore, man. Here's the thing. When I was... you can barely see the text. Yeah, it's because it's really small. Hold on. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so yeah, the Frankenstein's monster is good at heavy lifting, and fear open fire is his weakness. The Wolfman is animals, all animal-like. You're good at being animal-like as a Wolfman. No! Hold on a second. Okay, I'm sorry. I had to take a second to determine I'm reading it. The Wolfman is good at being animal-like. His weakness is throw that ball. If you throw a ball or a stick, the Wolfman will chase it down. That's nice to know. It's not silver bullets. It's like sticks in balls. Because the Wolfman is the bestest of boys. The Mummy. You are the Ancient One. You are good at doing all sorts of occult magic or occult stuff, but you don't like the presence of cats. That's like not even a amusing parody. That's like actually what the Mummy is afraid of. The Invisible Man. You are good at being invisible, but you are also easily overlooked by others. Are you sure that it's not that you turn into a megalomaniacal criminal because people can't see you? Like the actual Invisible Man? The Creature from the Black Lagoon. Wait. What? The Creature from the Black Lagoon's strength is making cocktails. Okay. But you know that you are nothing without friends. What? Was friendship the real treasure all along? God, man, this became garbage quick. This is supposed to be funny, and it kind of is, but it's also like garbage. And so each of these characters has a different role. It's a one shot. It's not. It's to kill time at a party. But there are like dozens of better ways to kill time at a party with an RPG one shot than this. It's funny to read, but it's just straight up garbage. This is like it's not like trash. It's not on fire, so it's not like a trash fire. It's just trash. Yeah, each character only has 2 stats, human and monster, and they both kind of go back and forth. And it's just narrative, so you can go between human and monster, and all stats are based off of that. It's just to have fun for a night. It's not serious. But it is kind of garbage. I don't want to save it. That was Monster Party. I feel like I wasted like 15 minutes. I want those 15 minutes of my life back. I am sorry that I have wasted your 15 minutes. Okay, next is Dark Grail, and this is the last one. This is from Trollish Delver Games, which I've had decent success with in the past. It is a 5-page long thing based on Arthurian legend. The Round Table is sundered. Twisted shadows of once noble heroes stalk the wretched land, victims of the Grail's malevolence. The quest for the Holy Grail was a success, but Arthur and his companions failed to understand its true power. The Grail deceived them and plunged Albion into a growing darkness. This is a demon-haunted landscape where grotesque forms of legendary creatures and mythic warriors give in to their base instincts. In Dark Grail, players are the afflicted, heroes who have been tainted by the Grail's foul sorcery but maintain a sliver of humanity. Their only hope for destroying the damned chalice is finding the lost Excalibur, but over the time, the Grail's power will turn Albion into a decayed land when the afflictions each hero carries comes to bear. So this actually kind of looks neat. It's very like dark Arthurian, which is like popular right now. Let me put the link in chat. And this should be our final one, although I may kick around for a little while afterwards. I don't know. It depends. It depends on whether I look over here and I see people important having messaged me. Oh, look. Somebody I know is on. I will talk to her, so I will actually wrap this up after this. Yeah, I've seen like 3 things similar to this. Isn't there like a war game RPG based on this idea? I know I've covered like 3 computer role-playing games that had like this almost exact storyline. Except sometimes it wasn't the Grail that corrupted people, it was just like Arthur fell or something. You know what? Speaking of, or tell you what, after I'm done looking at this, I'm going to give a background on what I've got coming up in terms of reviews and explain where I'm at with my channel, and then I'll probably wrap it up. Okay, Dark Grail, Arthurian Horror Role-Playing by Scott Malthouse. Albion is on the brink of destruction. Arthur and his knights... I read that already. Oh my god, it got worse. Okay. Mordred, Lord of Putrescence, seeks the lost Excalibur. Arthur is joined to Mordred in an unrecognizable slobbering pustule. God. Tainted Grail, yeah, that's what I was thinking about. But it's real popular in computer role-playing games lately. And you know what? I don't have a problem with that. In fact, I was thinking about doing a writing project sometime, because I often think about doing writing projects and then I never get around to them. But one of the things I was thinking about was like an Arthurian legend based thing, and maybe not actually Arthurian legend, because I feel like I would massacre the source material, but something similar, like from that same time period where you've got chivalry and you've got the knights, some sort of like holy knights in, say, the 13th, 14th century Britain or whatever. And then instead of having them face dragons and such, have like super gritty to begin with, but then like go like full on Cthulhu. Like they go into the dark wood and the cultists are bringing like elder ones in. So you've got like Arthurian knights on the one hand with their romantic flaws, and it's all like chivalry and romantic, like is in the literature style tragedy. And then on the other hand, you've got like cosmic horror, and they're facing down like extra creature. Yeah, Cthulhu, like Cthulhu monsters versus Arthurian knights. I think that would be a good mix. I should try a short story and see how it goes. Maybe put it out to my patrons or something. I'm sure somebody would read it, and I'm sure it'd be better than some of the trash that I've seen out there. Anyway, back to this. When you need to do something that could fail, roll a relevant archetype dice plus a test die and take the highest die. So the game only uses 6-sided dice. Everything goes wrong and you're put in danger if you roll a 1. Major success is a 6, and everything else is in between. The Grail. Anytime you would make a test, you may tap into the tainted magic of the Grail. Take any number of dice, best to be a different color of your regular dice, and then roll them as part of the test. If any of these Grail dice turn up a doom, there's no major success to ignore. The Harrowing Wind goes up by 1. Harrowing Wind. The Grail creates a magical wind that alters the world. The Harrowing Wind begins at 1. Though through play it can increase, triggering afflictions and making Albion more dangerous. This has a similar mechanic to Merkburg, which I keep wanting to play, but it's one of those systems that I have more fun reading than playing. And that has like a doomsday clock. This one has a harrowing wind, which gets more dangerous over time. When a PC dies, a doom appears on a Grail die when the PCs fail a quest. Those are 3 things. Increase by 1 when a PC dies. A doom appears on a Grail die. or when the PCs fail a quest. So things get darker. Decrease by 1 to 3 when the PCs complete a quest or a named villain is destroyed. So it's got like I want to say like almost like a world tendency in Demon Souls. That's one way to put it. Albion is a regular level of bleak. 2 to 3, the Grail's powers grow stronger, increase afflictions by 1. Yeah, the Doom Clock from Arkham. I've never played Arkham Horror, although I've heard very, very good things about it. I haven't played a lot of board games, actually. I never got to play many board games, because like the few times my groups used to like play board games, I used to just dominate them so well that they decided not to invite me to play board games anymore. Anyway, Night usurps day, increase afflictions by 1. Food and water is scarce. Foes get an extra die. Vegetation is an ash and streams are dry. Rolling a 1 or 2 counts as a doom. Increasing so as things go by, things just get worse. So battle, when committing violence, make a test on the relevant archetype. Only players roll a grave wound. You've taken a grave wound, minor wound, major success, and major success. So combat is basically a d6 roll, and you win or lose. Every character is an afflicted. They are between mortal and beast. Through the game, their afflictions will come into play in different ways, benefiting or hindering. You've got archetypes. A character consists of 5 archetypes. Each of those are common ways that archetype is tested. You've got Knight, Hunter, Scoundrel, Chaplain, and Sorcerer. And these, I guess, every character has... These are not classes. Every character has Knight, Hunter, Scoundrel, Chaplain, and Sorcerer. And that's just their stats. So they've unified stats with class. That's neat for a short system. Split 6 d6s between archetypes to a maximum of 3. Afflictions. Beast. You are range incarnate. As your affliction grows, you become more akin to a barrel wolf. Living dead. You are between the veil of life and death. So you can be a were creature, an undead, or a demon. And that is your affliction. I like this idea. Equipment. Each die gives you a starting piece of gear from that particular archetype. Armor and shields. You can use a shield. You can shatter a shield to reduce wounds. Healing. A natural salve will heal a minor wound. And that just gives you healing rules. Combat in this looks really deadly, by the way. Because it's like hit or miss. And you only have like, it looks like 3 wound levels. Yeah, it looks like there's only 3 wound levels. Every time I see something like this, I want to cry. Dark Grail is a dark fantasy game with disturbing and often violent themes. It is in everyone's best interest to discuss lines before playing and forcing the X card. As a rule, Dark Grail does not include harm to minors, and despite the game being set somewhere around the 13th century, there is no misogyny, homophobia, transphobia, or racism, or any other kind of ism, because, you know, things were perfect back then, and you really don't want to play any horror with actual horror in it. Anyway. But aside from that, the system's good. It's got rules for your various afflictions increasing. The rules are good. It's a nice little system. Before the Grail was found, magic was a wondrous thing. No, it wasn't. Before the Grail was found, magic was a pagan force. God damn, learn your Arthurian legend if you're going to try and ape it. Especially if you're going to put this bullshit in. You can at least try to be accurate. Magic was always fucking malevolent. Merlin was the son of a fucking demon. He was a Cambion in Arthurian legend. He was not good. Merlin was not good. He was self-serving. He just happened to have his self-serving be on the side of good for that particular moment in time in Arthurian legend. So at least get it straight, damn it. Opponents in Dark Grail are the various yeah, this is not a bad system. You know what these affliction tracks remind me of is the Ravenloft Dark Powers checks. If anybody remembers those. Like, not the bullshit ones from now, but like the old ones from the 2nd edition, where as you failed power checks, you gradually became physically more corrupted, and it granted you powers like this does. Your sense of smell is heightened. You only eat raw meat. So there was always a trade-off. Like, you would get the ability to chill touch people, but then your hand would look like a withered claw or something. And it just got worse and worse until you became a monster. So I do like the affliction rules. It's not a bad system, Dark Grail. It's got a good core. So that's it for tonight. On that. Sorry, I'm sorry if my irritation with warnings in fucking horror games has kind of got to me. I don't like I don't like horror games that immediately rip the fucking teeth out of horror. Like, you want to know what horror is? Horror is personal. It's supposed to get... Horror is not like spooky skeletons and a dozen vampires sitting around a table sipping tea talking about how their day. Horror is personal. And if you play a good horror game, but you don't have the idea of a personal discomfort, then you're not playing a horror game. You're playing a bunch of people with plastic teeth and fake capes around a fucking card table. Anyway, channel update real quick. I have just completed my Cepheus Light review, and it will be up when I remember it next week. It'll probably be up on Monday or Tuesday. I was sent a boxed set of the first several adventures in the Maximum Mayhem Osric OSR series. They're all dungeon crawls. I've covered 3 of them so far in the past, and I'm going to cover 2 more, maybe 3 more, but 2 more at least in the future. I had the scripts all done, and then I lost the scripts, so I've got to rewrite the scripts. At least I know what to say now, but I've got to rewrite the scripts and record them and get them out. So that will be coming up in the next week. After that, I've got more of the Cepheus engine stuff that I was sent to review. But I will probably do either the mini ones, the little short ones, or the Sword of Cepheus, which is the Cepheus Light but adapted to sword and sorcery kind of stuff. But before I get to that, I will also be reviewing the Heist of the Mad King's Jewel, which is a 5th edition thing that I was sent, that is a steampunk 5th edition, like steampunk / magic punk's 5th edition heist oriented campaign. It's like 300 pages, and I covered one of their things before, where it was like in an airship, and I really liked that one. So I'm actually kind of excited to do this one. I don't know when that review will be out, because that one's 300 pages, and I like reading through things when I do those full, like, Shelf of Many Things video reviews. I like to, read them well. So that's going to take me a while, okay? But I will try to get it. I've got more I've got more tabletop stuff coming up for the channel, and I know I've fallen down on it the last couple months because summer is terrible for me. But I will be getting more. I will be getting more of all that up. Cepheus Light will be up sooner. The other ones I'm hoping to get out relatively soon, but I can't guarantee it. But they will be coming up soon. I will also be trying to put together. I don't know if I'm going to put together highlights or excerpts of the current, either the current Patreon game or my current personal tabletop game that I've been running on Tuesdays. I've been running it on Fantasy Ground Unity, and it's Fantasy Ground Unity is buggy, kind of buggy for what I use it for, but it's getting better. But I think the main reason I haven't put any of that up is because we started with the same group that I had done Tomb of Annihilation for, but in only about in a relatively brief time after starting it, I had to kick one of the players. And those who have watched through my Tomb of Annihilation can probably guess who and why I kicked. It's been going extremely well since then. But I'm kind of hesitant to start posting it because I did end up kicking that player, and I don't really know if I want to put, their stuff up. Yeah, Duke knows what I'm talking about here. Duke knows what I'm talking about. Nice girl and all, but yeah, there's reasons that I kicked her. And what I may do with that is I may start like after I kicked her, so it may start like in media res or whatever, where like you're in the middle of things. I may have to do like some sort of intro, but if people like the tabletop stuff, I might start putting that up. I have been recording basically all my tabletop stuff to put up. I've also got ideas for other tabletop stuff, but I'm not even going to mention them until I know that I have time to do them. In terms of Let's Plays, I have finished my Fallout 2 Let's Play, and I will be posting the last couple episodes over the next week to a week and a half. I am. Oh no! Just go ahead and add the block of text, man. I've already taken a look at your earlier one. I don't know if you added other ones. I can do a Patreon only video. Hold on a second. Give me a second. Let me copy down what Hex recommended, because some of those look really nice, and then I'll get back to that. But I want to get this before I forget. Thank you for recommending those. And this one. Some of those I've actually really looked at before. I may have to look at these in the future, Hex. Thank you very much. I am always looking for nice little RPGs. Okay. So where was I going? Oh yeah, tabletop stuff. I may talk about the Patreon. For the Patreon, I may do like a Patreon / subscribe star only video talking about some of the tabletop stuff that I want to do, and then the Patreons, and it can let me know what would be in my best benefit to focus on. Like Duke had recommended years ago now that I do like a short series of things where I look at a particular aspect of a dungeon, called like Dungeon Doctor or whatever. And while I think I can't do the initial version that he recommended, I can certainly do like little shorts that like hyper focus on one element of like dungeon design. And then I also have Tabletops and Taverns. Oh, Dungeon Slayers 4.0. I love Dungeon Slayers. I haven't covered them yet because every time I go to their site, it's down. But yeah, I need to get Tabletops and Taverns back underway. And I even had like half of a season ready to go. But I wanted to change the formatting and I never got around to it. But now I've got the stuff I need to do to make that formatting work. So I'm going to get back on that. In terms of Let's Play stuff, I finished Fallout 2. I've got a poll up on the for my patrons. I'm getting information from Patreons, from Subscribestar, and from my channel members, which I only got one of right now. But you know, take it or miss. They get early access to many of my videos, not all of them, but many of them, and they also get input on stuff that I do next. And for the Let's Play stuff, I've got a poll up right now with several options. And because some of them are relatively short games, what I may end up doing is going back to the 2-game schedule that I had been doing before. And this is all pending on my ability to actually be able to do this and catch up and maintain the Let's Play on my secondary channel. My secondary channel, I'm doing World of Zine, and I'm nearing the end of Clouds of Zine, and then I've got Dark Side of Zine to do on that too. So I will be trying to keep that up. So I don't know if I can do like 3 in a row, or like 3 Let's Plays simultaneously. But if one of those games is very short, like say like 10 to 20 hours, which some of them on my list are, then maybe I can do it. And for my Patreons, you will be getting... I have not been doing the patron streams simply because the last ones that I did had no views. Nobody was watching them. So I stopped doing the patron streams because I was focused more on getting channels, like stuff out for the channel when I had time. However, I have been half-ass recording a Let's Play of Lords of the Fallen because I wanted to find out if it was as bad as I'd heard, and while it's not as bad as I'd heard, it is pretty bad. But I will be posting that as the patron only Let's Play that nobody ever asked for. So that will be going up. I've got like 3 sessions of that recorded. I'm going to get one more session, and then I'm going to start posting that for the patrons, so they can watch me rage at like the clunkiest Souls-like I have ever played. So there is that to look forward to. Anyway, I got to head out here. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for those who have supported me all this time, for your support. I would not be able to do this as I have. Oh, and in fact, in terms of before I leave, I gotta interrupt myself. I have not done an Indie Game Friday the last 2 weeks. The prior one is because the game I went to review, I was running late, and then I got like an hour into the game before realizing it was like not even close to an RPG, so I just skipped it. And then last week, I decided to try to review My Time at Portia, which is an interesting game. But I got like 4 hours in, and I still hadn't seen all of the mechanics of it. So I basically am going to try to get it this week, but I may have to like do another quick RPG for Indie Game Friday tomorrow because I still haven't recorded anything for it, and then review that. So I don't even know if there's going to be an Indie Game Friday up tomorrow. So I'm falling down on the Indie Game Fridays, man. People need to stop labeling non-role-playing games as role-playing games. If they stop doing that on Steam, then I'll stop chasing bad leads. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Thank you for your continued support, those who have supported me all these years. I would not be able to do this without you. Because, let's face it, even though most of the stuff I do is retro, it still costs money to keep the system up and to, you know, buy the games and for review and stuff. So I appreciate that. You don't have to give money to me. No one will ever have to give money to me, but I appreciate those who do. Until next time, take care and goodbye.